I think there's definitely an element of chance in the stuff that I design, the aesthetic of the glass that I want to achieve. Definitely an element of chance, and an element of sort of watching very carefully and knowing when to stop and when the form's just right.
Sometimes it'll start with an experiment and then you'll discover what's interesting about that form, and then you can try and exaggerate it or control it or make that work to your advantage. Well, we live and work in a converted Methodist chapel that we bought about 10 years ago. It was in a pretty dilapidated state, and we managed to get planning permission to convert the front part to the workshop and the back part into a studio flat. You always have to do this after you've filled the furnace up. The surface of the glass deteriorates overnight. I just need to get this piece of glass all up to the same temperature, over 1,000 degrees C. You can sort of see that it's hotter on the end, which is very yellow, but basically with a few reheats and a few passes on the marver, it should all be getting back up to one uniform temperature. You just get a feel for it after a few years. You know when it's the right shape and the right temperature to move on to the next stage.
I suppose through watching him make glass, I had formed a great understanding of the material as well. He taught me an enormous amount about how to work with glass. He taught me how to develop my basic skill set that I've got.
I can often get carried away with just trying to try out a technique, and then through talking it through with you, we can usually develop it into something that turns out to be an attractive piece, attractive object. Right, I've got that nice and hot and runny, and then I need to stick that on there with a good contact. Thanks. Then we can start to draw it out.
Dom's blowing on the end that's getting too thin to cool it down. Where the heat is, it draws thinner than where it's colder. And he wants a nice even thickness across the length of the cane. I think I felt a bit fed up with the whole commercial side of things, and that's why now we try and make more time for making unusual pieces and not worry about whether we sell them or not. That's been a conscious decision in the last sort of 2 years really, hasn't it?
This is just to make sure any specks of that are left on are swept off. I mean, if there are any there, it's just the mark of the maker. Signature of the process. Pull a bit. Well, definitely, you give me a lot of feedback and
we do talk about
steerage
stuff a lot,
on
don't we?
the aesthetic side of. I'll perhaps start in a similar way, experimenting, but more with a technique or something that's interested me, and then you'll have a conversation with me and discuss.
I think I'm crucial in it. Hours spent helping.
Oh, definitely.
Doing donkey work.
Yeah, there's no doubt in that.
I really like glass. I like the way it behaves. I like it the way it moves, and it has its. I think it's unusual in that it's got its own form in a way. I do understand the material quite well, I think. I feel like it's the material that I think in, just from working with it and around it for so long, really.